Early as it was, the heat of Paris wrapped itself round them as they made their way through the eerie, deserted streets. Sido had asked Bernard to drive to the Duchesse de Lamont's townhouse on the Place Royale. They arrived to find it full of packing cases, and the Duchesse preparing to leave. The Marquis sat down on a crate, staring before him like a statue, while the Duchesse, in dismay, addressed herself to Sido.
"My dear child, why on earth did you come to Paris? It's not safe here. I am leaving, going abroad. Did your father not read my letter?" "No," said Sido. "Oh dear." Almost in a whisper she asked, "And have you seen Kaliowski?" "No." The Duchesse looked around, terrified, as if she expected him to be standing nearby listening, like a cat waiting for a mouse to move. "I have found someone who will help me to escape. I advise you to do the same. You won't be able to leave without a passport, though. Have you any money?" "No," said Sido. "We have nothing." Oh dear, oh dear. Did the Marquis not make any arrangements?" "No." The Marquis, his hand held out before him, muttered, "My collection of buckles was even more valuable than the king's." "I do advise you," said the Duchesse, ignoring him, "to leave here as soon as you can. They're arresting all aristocrats as traitors. The prisons are full. It'll end in a bloodbath." She went over to her desk and scribbled something on a piece of paper. "This is the person you should use to get you out of Paris. I will tell him you need help." She glanced at the Marquis. "I will pay him to get you both out." "Thank you," said Sido. "Oh, thank you for your kindness." "In these troubled times we must support each other," said the Duchesse, kissing Sido. "Goodbye. I hope we will all meet again in London." The Marquis looked very grave and replied, "I knew, of course, the minute whalebone corsets went out of fashion, that things were going to come to a pretty pass." Sido watched as the Duchesse left, and then looked at the piece of paper she had been given. On it was written the name, Mr. Tull. The gates to Paris were now barricaded, for there was a tangible fear that the enemies of France were poised to take the city. Everyone coming or going was a potential spy, or a counter-revolutionary trying to escape. Every coach suspected of carrying an aristocrat or a member of the clergy. Papers were lingered over and bribes given. Jan and his fellow passengers from the London stagecoach stood in a line to be inspected. Another coach, painted yellow, was waiting to leave the city, its grandeur causing quite a lot of commotion. Out of nowhere came a group of angry men and women, all wearing the red bonnet of liberty, armed with pitchforks, their sleeves rolled up, ready for action. Jan had never seen such hatred as he saw now, etched upon their faces. One of the men leapt at the yellow door, forcing it open with animal ferocity so that it fell off its hinges.
"Shame on you!"
he shouted at the occupants.
"Trying to smuggle out the wealth that belongs to France? You're traitors to the revolution. The enemy within, that's what you be. Well, you'll soon see how we deal with the likes of you."
The husband and wife and their two terrified children were unceremoniously dragged out screaming. Jan, who had a sudden urge to help them, moved forwards. He was stopped immediately by the hand of a fellow passenger who whispered urgently, "It isn't worth it, sir, to have you thrown in prison for your efforts. Believe me, there's nothing we can do. Just thank the Lord you're not a Frenchman." Seeing that he had a mighty catch, the gatekeeper had no interest whatsoever in the London coach. Without so much as a second glance, he let it go. Jan sat back in his seat. From the window he caught a last glimpse of a child's frightened face. What had happened to this city, to its citizens, that they should have so much hatred for their fellow men? The coach rumbled on over the Pont Neuf. Jan felt a thrill of excitement. For better or worse, he was back home at long last.